You recall this slide from the lower Ninth Ward of New Orleans. The issue again, as we've discussed, vulnerability. Trying to understand not just in Bangladesh, but who are the most vulnerable in the United States. We've talked about in this class. You remember our discussion of the lower Ninth Ward. You'll recall that this was the most worst affected by Hurricane Katrina a couple years back. The darker colored areas are those living below twice the poverty level. So the darkest areas from 74 to 100% living below twice the poverty threshold. And the poverty threshold, you'll recall, for a family of 4 in the US is $22,000 roughly. So $22,000 is the poverty level for a family of 4. These are areas where people are living below twice that level. Tells you a lot. So poorest areas, you learned in this class that there was also a connection between those living in the poorest areas, the poorest of the poor, and the death rate in Katrina. These are also the areas where there was the highest number of fatalities. And again, people who stayed in their homes because it was the only asset which they had, and they were concerned because flooding that had come before, they'd had hurricanes before that they had lived through, that if they left their homes would be subject perhaps to a break-in, again living in a high crime area, which is often another aspect of the dynamic of being in the inner city in some of these poor areas. They also happen to be high crime areas. And again, so the poorest of the poor again tend to be the most vulnerable in any country, in any situation, and they have the highest fatality rates always whenever there is a natural disaster of this type. They're the most affected because they're living on the edge.